Take half a second to put yourself in this scenario for me real fast. You're someone who's never heard of Hollow Knight or Silksong or even Metroidvanias in the first place. One day you decide to pick up Hollow Knight Silksong due to the overwhelming hype and popularity of it. You load up the game, but you have absolutely no idea where to go or what to do. Well, that's why I'm making this video. As somebody who's already put an embarrassing amount of hours into this game, I want to help guide any and all new players through the game, step by step. Disclaimer! I'm not going to be recommending specific builds for specific crests and tools for bosses. The most important thing about this guide is this: play the game the way you want to play it. You will not hear any kind of judgment from me. Don't let any other players make you feel bad or bully you into a specific playstyle. Use whatever crests and whatever tools you may like. So you've sat through the intro cutscene explaining how Hornet, our main character, got into this mess. Where do you go and what do you do? Well, after getting up, most players will feel inclined to go to the left considering that's the main path. However, Team Cherry, the developers, love hiding all sorts of secret walls and secret areas, and if you decide to go to the right instead of the left and jump while hugging the wall, you'll find a secret area. You should break the statue in here, as shell shards are a vital resource throughout the game. We aren't done with secrets though, as there's a separate secret area right up here. The enemy here is fairly easy to kill. Run up to it, hit it 2 or 3 times, then run back to the area with the statue. From here, simply wait till you hear the enemy approach, jump and attack to get some damage, and rinse and repeat. Going back to re-aggro the enemy should the enemy stop attacking at any point. The item you get here should be held onto if you can, as B shards are few and far between in this game. Now with the B shard obtained, you could finally go to the left and actually start your adventure. The Moss Grotto is fairly straightforward with very few things to collect and very simple enemies. The upper path leads you to something you should probably collect before you leave the room, or else it's a long walk of shame all the way back. Something I'm going to state right now is that Silksong is a very difficult game. Do not be discouraged if you die to enemies or bosses a few times, as we've all been there as a new player, getting our asses handed to us on a silver platter. In this hallway, you should absolutely jump down to collect this frayed rosary string, rosaries being the main in-game currency. The next 2 rooms have 2 different things to collect, one of them being another statue that you should break, and this mossberry that is seemingly out of reach. However, if you're a bit clever, that mossberry is perfectly within reach. Observe. You see, by timing our pogo, we can get just enough height off of this enemy to knock the mossberry down.
This would really go all the way down? Oh my god, it did.
The next hallway has another gap that you should jump right in while holding left mid-air to land on the platform. This platform leads to a room that has a chest with some rosaries in it that you should collect. Head back and across that same hallway. Bank your first save point, also known as the bench, and head up to the first boss fight. Moss Mother is a pretty easy boss with a total of 3 different attacks, plenty of downtime in between each one to get plenty of damage in. A decent strategy is to jump and attack 2 times before backing off, preemptively jumping whenever she goes to use an attack. If you're feeling a bit spicy, you can even get a pogo off while she sweeps the bottom of the arena for some extra damage. Pay attention to the warnings of falling rocks, kill off the extra enemies, or ads for short, as they spawn, and you should beat Moss Mother without issue. Say hi to the very obviously not a door and go up. Going up and past all of the dialogue will lead you to Bone Bottom and the next area. After exploring Bone Bottom, you should head to the right, which will lead you to the next area to go. Going up and past all of the enemies will lead you to another major hazard of this game, ambush arenas. These feature several different waves of enemies. It's a good time to mention that I will not be walking you through each individual wave or how to deal with them, as everyone's play style is different and there's no one true way to clear any ambush arena, as each one is clearable in several different ways. It's also worth noting that after you fight an enemy, it's probably best to avoid them if you can. The only enemies you should repeatedly fight and not run past are enemies that drop some rosaries. Killing rosary dropping enemies constantly, no matter how many times you run past a room, will ensure that you have a steady stream of rosaries to spend throughout the playthrough. After clearing the ambush arena, you should head down and open the door for the pilgrim before continuing further right, buying the bench before heading into the next area, the marrow. From this point, you should try and head up, avoiding falling in the lava if you can, and dealing with enemies appropriately. Going up will lead to a large upwards hallway. You should climb the room until you see this large set of bones. This leads you to your first tool, the shard pendant. Tools can be changed out and equipped at benches, and everyone has their own playstyle, so I won't be recommending many tools at all. Continuing up the hallway, once you reach the top, you should head to the left, dropping down to collect these rosaries before continuing even further left. You should eventually meet Chakra, the map vendor. Personally, I recommend saving your rosaries for the time being and continuing up and crossing the room, hitting the lever mechanism in order to head down, to the left, and then down again, back into Bone Bottom. By this point, you should have enough rosaries to buy the Magnetite brooch, which I very highly recommend putting on and never looking back. Magnetite brooch will automatically draw rosaries rosaries to you, ensuring you never have to pick up any ever again. With Bruge bought and equipped, you should head right back up the path you came, this time heading up, stopping by this small area to collect some rosaries. The upper room has traps that are triggered by running past these small cords. However, the traps are fairly easily avoided by simply continuing to move the direction you were going. Continue going up, collecting these rosaries while taking the path to your first silk skill, Silk Spear. Silk Spear is a straightforward attack, quite literally, that deals 3 times Hornet's current needle damage. Now we get to the actual part of the game. Most new players will keep all of their silk for healing whenever they need it. While this is a valid strategy, it heavily hurts your DPS in the long run. A great general rule of thumb is to consider and use silk skills when you are at anywhere from 7 to 9 silk spools, as this allows you to get high damage in as well as keep enough silk should you need to heal. With Silk Spear in hand, you should head back down to the area with the elevator, as there's now things you can do and collect very easily. Once you're at the elevator, go to the right, as this leads to 2 different things that you should collect at this point. The first is very easy. Continue moving right into this room. You should collect the rosaries as well as break open this secret wall. Behind this wall is a spool fragment. Collecting 2 of these will result in a permanent increase to the amount of silk you can hold in total. You should also open this shortcut before heading back through the path you took until you hit this specific area. This might take a few attempts, but there's an enemy with a moss berry that you need to collect. Observe. While you're down in Bone Bottom, take the time to buy this craft metal off of the merchant before heading right back up on the path to Chakra, collecting these rosaries and taking the upper path instead of the lower path to bank another bench. You should buy the Mosslands map, the Marrow map, and the Quill, using one of the frayed rosary strings should you need the extra rosaries to obtain these items. With your mapping material now in hand, make your way back to the room where you obtained Silk Spear and use it on these silk strands to clear them out and go to the right, talking to the Moss Druid and completing the wish in one go. With the wish complete, head down this time, going into the secret area on the right to pick up another moss berry. Don't worry, these still have a use much later on. Now that you've done all of this, you should head right back to the bench, go up and to the right, using Silk Spear to start your next boss fight. The Bell Beast is another somewhat easy fight with only 4 attacks, indicated by the rumbling on the ground. If the rumbling is small, then the Bell Beast will appear on that location and sweep the bottom of the arena, easily dodged by jumping over the Bell Beast. It's highly recommended that you land a pogo as Bell Beast is sweeping for a little bit of damage. If the rumbling is large and a small sound plays, then the Bell Beast will jump from that location and across the arena before landing and going back under. This attack is easily dodged by standing under the Bell Beast as she's airborne at her apex. Her small landing animation allows for at least 2 needle hits, or a needle hit and a Silk Spear. A little bit into the fight, if a rumbling appears on top of Hornet's current location, then the Bell Beast will appear at that location and send 2 bells into the air. The bells travel only a short distance before hitting the ground and moving across the ground. This can be dodged by jumping over the bells as they move across the ground. Once the rumbles appear in the middle of the arena and the Bell Beast pops up and screeches, then you know you've entered phase 2. Avoid the warnings at all costs during this attack and stay alert for where the bells bounce. Phase 2 makes a bell fall from the ceiling during each attack, indicated by the warning on the ceiling. These shouldn't be too hard at all to dodge. Keep up the pressure using silk skills when you're feeling confident, and the Bell Beast should go down without too many problems. Jump to grab the silk heart and get access to the bellways. With access to the bellways, also known as fast travel, but also known as laziness, which is perfectly fine, go back to Bone Bottom and complete every quest except the Lost Fleas quest for the time being. After completing them, go up to Chakra and buy the bench pins and the bellway pins. From this point, you're free to explore as much as you like and to look around as much as you like. I do recommend going into this room and collecting the frayed rosary string and raiding the secret area for its rosaries as well. The next area you need to get to is here, buying the bench and continuing into this room and clearing it out entirely, making your way up and past the enemies to save this fleet. You should continue left, killing rosary dropping enemies, collecting these rosaries, and going into this room. This room has a lot of stuff to collect, including this craft metal, a secret wall that has a parkour challenge with some rosaries at the end, and a shard statue. Activate the mechanism in the next room and immediately go across to collect some more rosaries. You should enter this area and pick up the straight pin, your first red tool. These tools are usable in combat and are repaired at benches, using shell shards as their currency. Kill the bell-wielding pilgrim and go up to the room you ran past. You see this big guy right here? Yeah, don't engage him. We'll come back to him later. Continue down into the lower room, grave robbing these rosaries, activating the shortcut in the room to the left, and keep cheek clapping to the right to enter Deep Docks. Your first order of business here is to get a bench by taking the elevators before talking to the resident mapper for this area's map and the vendor pins. Then going into the bellway that you directly passed and unlocking that as well. There's a secret wall to the left that you should break since there's a flea in here that you should get. With this out of the way, go to the right, down, to the left, then into this room right here. This room is a fairly easy puzzle, and don't worry about about the flaming floor since jumping constantly resets the burn timer. Completing this puzzle gives you your second spool fragment and your first silk extension. After that, head down into this room and clear it fully of enemies, rosaries, and shards. With more robbery committed, go back up and out of this room, instead going to the right this time into this ambush arena. Silk Spear is especially effective in this arena, turning a good portion of the waves into easily clearable with only a few needle swings. Go up to get another bench and talk to the Forge Daughter, buying the Sting Shard while you're here. Now, are you tired of moving around at a snail's pace? Well, we're gonna fix that by going to the room with Chakra and moving upward. Drop into this room for a few enemies with rosaries before making your way up into this room. Traverse the room collecting these rosaries before going up and partaking in capitalism for the bench. Moving even further up will lead you to an ambush arena. Silk Spear makes this arena much easier, but be warned, the enemies here are trickier to deal with and are tankier than other enemies. Go down into this room for a secret wall with a rosary string, opening up the shortcut and moving into the room on the left to finally obtain your first movement ability, Swift Step. Swift Step allows much faster movement throughout the game. Free this flea before leaving to the left and going back to the Bellway for Bone Bottom. Now take the elevator up and cross this gap, which is now available to you. The room to the left looks very daunting at first, but with Swift Step, this room is quite literally just a running simulator. Head down into this small area and break open this wall to collect your first Mask Shard. Mask Shards are incredibly important, as collecting 4 of them will increase your health by 1 extra point. With the Mask Shard collected, head down to collect these rosaries. Now this one might also take a few tries, but observe. So collect these rosaries as well and grab this Weaver effigy. Go back to the Bone Bottom shop and buy your second Mask Shard, using as many rosary bead strings as needed to get it. Now, with all of this collected, head back to Deep Docks and go back to the bench near the Forge Daughter to set your save point and head up to hit this lever and start another boss fight. Lace. Lace has quite a few attacks. Staying on your toes and watching her subtle movements is key. If Lace straightens her pin in your direction, you should jump the instant Lace starts moving. Depending on where you are in relation to Lace, it's possible to pogo her for some extra damage, or jump over her and get a grounded hit in. If Lace angles her pin towards the ground, then Lace will swipe at you at least twice. This attack, it's always safest to pogo, but do not go for a grounded hit. If Lace counters and you unfortunately hit her counter, then very quickly jump and pogo in Lace's direction. If done right, you get some free damage in. When Lace crouches down and points her pin away from you, then she'll jump high into the air and continue to move in the direction she jumped. It is very important to note that if Lace would jump off of the platform, then Lace will jump back in the same direction she came. Wait until she lands to either pogo her or get a grounded hit in. In the second half of this fight, the moment an area of the arena is highlighted, stand just to the left or the right of the highlighted area and watch Lace closely. The moment she lands on the platform after attacking that area, move closer, and if your timing and spacing are correct, you should barely get a hit in. Staying alert while watching your opponent's movements, and you should get past Lace somewhat easily. Head to the right to bank another bench and access to the next area. Farfields doesn't really have much to collect at first, so you should head right. Collect the shard statue in this room and make your way even further right, talking to Chakra only to realize you're broke and can't buy the map. The room below has a secret area above that has a secret wall and another tool, the warding bell. Break open the secret wall for later use and head back out and into this room, passing the totally not a boss and going into this house. The seamstress here gives you a wish that you should complete, as this gives you your next movement ability. The room to the right has a large loop that you should explore the full length of. Now, see these enemies? Well, collecting their spines is pretty easy. Simply attack them once to get them to shoot their spines out, then swing your needle at the spine to pop it out and collect it. There's also some rosaries in this loop that you should probably grab. With the wish complete, collect your next movement ability, the Drifter's Cloak. With the Drifter's Cloak, head back to the right to collect this bone scroll before going back up and riding the strong winds. There's a somewhat hidden area high up to the left that you should go in. Put some brain cells to use to complete the puzzle for your third Mask Shard. With this grabbed, head down to the left, going back the way you came to engage your next boss. Fourth Course is a relatively simple boss and is one of my personal favorites. Starting off, Fourth Course has only 2 attacks. Both are telegraphed and easy to dodge. The first attack is Fourth Course aims one of its hands above you, indicated by a sound cue, and slams it down. Move left or right to dodge this easily. Keep in mind that this attack will temporarily remove the bottom part of the arena that it hit. The second attack is when Fourth Course puts a hand to the side of the arena, indicated by another sound cue, and sweeps it across the bottom of the arena. This is very easily dodged by jumping. The second part of the fight introduces a third attack where Fourth Course will cause fireballs to rain down from the ceiling. This This is dodged by not purposefully running into the fireballs. As the fight progresses, 4th course will progressively get faster and faster. The last phase shrinks the arena by about 1/3 and 2 wind columns appear on either side. Ride the wind upwards to hit both of the exploding whatever they are. This will cause the large rock to fall, ending the fight on the spot. Cross the rest of the room collecting these rosaries on the way out. Now that you have Drifter's Cloak, there's quite a bit to do in Farfields now. Your first order of business is to unlock the Bellway and the bench. Next, go back to the room with the shard statue and make your way up, collecting these rosaries and killing this enemy, then going to the right and breaking open this secret wall. This room has some rosaries to collect and a fleet of free. The upper room has enemies that drop rosaries as well as rosaries to collect. Going to the right and to the right again will lead you to a rest stop and another merchant. Enter the merchant room and break the mechanism so you never have to pay again, and buy the memory locket from the scammer. Memory lockets unlock more slots for more red tools, blue tools, and yellow tools on your different crests, so it's best to use them on the crest that you feel the most comfortable using first. Go up and to the left, unlocking the lever as well as going down to unlock the different accesses. Stopping by this room to kill the enemies for their rosaries before going up properly into the next area. Greymoor has a lot to collect, so strap in. Your first order of business is to head to the left, killing the enemies and going into this small secret, collecting the bone scroll here before heading back up into the left, which should lead you to here. Go inside to open the door and grab the hunter's journal before continuing left more. The ambush arena here is very easy, so go to the left, down, and to the right to unlock the Bellway before going back to the left, collecting the rosaries and dealing with the enemies. The enemies in Greymoor are tricky to deal with, but probably have dementia as they forget about you very easily. So head left, up and to the right, talk to Garmund, and into this room. Deal with the enemies, collecting these rosaries before going into this room and entering the Chapel of the Reaper. Make your way through the chapel. The ambush arena here should be fairly easy, as Silk Spear makes it much easier. With the arena cleared, go up to grab your first new crest, the Reaper crest. Now at this point, you'll see me mostly using Reaper crest, as it's the crest I feel most comfortable with. Keep in mind that you are allowed and free to use whatever crest you may like. Grab these rosaries, unlock the shortcut, and go down. Whatever you do not go to the left. You aren't quite ready to take on the next boss yet, so grab these rosaries and go to the right instead. This room is a massive headache to traverse due to all the erratic enemies and abundance of traps. There is a memory locket here you should grab that's behind this large enemy before leaving the room. Go back to the halfway home bench before going far to the right to the map mommy, buying her out completely. Sit at the bench and make your way to the right even more. The crawls are also very erratic enemies. Paired with how tanky they are, it makes for a very deadly combination. Unlock the door before going into this room, collecting all the rosaries you can before going into the ambush arena. This arena is quite long and pretty difficult, so do not get discouraged. Sting Shard is especially effective against the crawls in this arena. Clear the arena, rob every last rosary from this area, then make your way upwards and go into this room, grabbing this rosary string and collecting these rosaries before continuing left and banking another bench. Go back to that large room, collecting these rosaries, freeing this flea, robbing more rosaries, and making your way up here to grab your second silk skill, Thread Storm. Remember everything I said about silk skills and when to use them? Yeah, forget all that. Thread Storm is the single best silk skill in the game. Large group of enemies, Thread Storm. Overly tanky enemy, extend Thread Storm by rapidly tapping the silk skill button. Enemy you don't want to deal with? Thread Storm. Thread Storm is unbelievably powerful, and if you use it right, then goddammit, you're gonna be flying through this game. Grab another red tool, 3-fold pin, before going down to collect this rosary string and heading out and going to the left to the bench. Go back to the halfway home. You should be powerful enough to get past that large enemy that you skipped a long time ago. With Thread Storm and Sting Shard, this enemy should be no problem. Go to the right to enter Hunter's March. This is one of the very few times that I will actively recommend Reaper Crest, as the Reaper Crest pogo makes this area several times easier. Free this flea before making your way deeper in, grabbing these rosaries, this rosary necklace, and going even further right into this ambush arena. This arena is another tough one, so don't be discouraged if you die a few times. With the arena clear, keep pushing through the area and keep using Threadstorm to deal very high damage to the very tanky enemies here. When you make your way to a long room with a wind column, go up until you see this bench marker. Take a seat on the bench and get trolled before going to the left for a secret area that deactivates the bench trap. Now that you got a bench, go up further and into this room. This room has a secret area that has another merchant at the end. Buy out the merchant and return to the bench. This is another time where I will highly recommend a tool, the Fractured Mask. This tool is unbelievably strong. I personally will put it on and never look back. Now go down the wind column into this room and talk to the map mommy again. Buying the map and continuing right, going up the wind column to the next chapel, the Chapel of the Beast. This chapel is a pretty easy parkour challenge, so make your way through, open the shortcut, and enter your next boss. Savage Beastfly is a pretty difficult boss by this point, so you're likely to die a few times. Hell, even I died here on the first attempt.
I hate Savage Beast Fly. I don't understand why they thought a boss like this was such a good idea, man.
Savage Beast Fly has only 2 attacks. If Savage Beast Fly moves upwards and hovers there, trying to line up with you, it will slam down 3 times, each time trying to line up with you. Dash immediately left or right in order to dodge this attack, going for a needle hit every slam. Keep in mind that if you move too far away, it can cancel this attack at any time. Always remain on your toes, as Savage Beast Fly's second attack will have it sweep the arena at least 2 different times, most commonly it's 3, each time trying to line up with you. If it's on ground level, do a quick jump and pogo off it as it moves by. If it's above, you can try and do a tiny jump swinging upwards as it passes, but this isn't recommended if it's lower to the ground than usual. Its third attack happens only a little ways into the fight. Savage Beast Fly will scream in place, calling in 1 or 2 adds. Depending on how far away Savage Beast Fly is when it summons, it's possible to get a hit or 2 in. Deal with the adds that it summons with Threadstorm if possible. Savage Beast Fly is a very annoying and unnecessarily difficult boss for its location, but with perseverance, you'll be able to kill Savage Beast Fly and claim your 3rd crest, the Beast Crest. Now remember that Lost Fleas wish that you should still have? Well, now you have a choice. If you want to, you can complete that wish and travel with the Flea Caravan, and doing this will entirely skip the next boss fight. You can also go to Greymoor again and go back into this room to start your next boss fight. It's entirely your own decision. Keep in mind that skipping this boss will make it appear later in the game, so you aren't locked out of the boss should you skip it. As it stands, for the purpose of this guide, I will assume that you haven't skipped the next boss and go over it. Morwing is another challenging fight with 3 attacks, and keep in mind that there isn't really a good surefire way to get damage in. You'll have to find the openings yourself, unfortunately. The first attack is when Morwing will screech and lunge at you, slicing rapidly. This is easily predictable and easily dodgeable, so you shouldn't get hit by this much. The second attack is when Morwing will sweep under you. This is a pure reaction test, as there really is no good clear tell for it. Generally, jumping and pogoing Morwing as it sweeps under is the best idea. The third attack is also a reaction test, as Morwing will shoot out a projectile that follows the ground for a bit before arcing up, easily dodgeable by jumping over the projectile. Phase 2 adds a new attack and makes the other attacks more deadly. After sweeping under you, Morwing will turn around and additionally fire a projectile that follows the ground. Dodging this is still the same with an additional jump to dodge the projectile. Morwing will also shoot out 2 projectiles instead of 1 now, the first projectile being the same while the other will instead do a large loop. Due to the second projectile being far more likely to hit you, it's best to dash away from Morwing after you dodge the first projectile. Morwing's new attack will see Morwing shoot 2 projectiles that loop around and move left and right under you, indicated by a sound cue and a visual cue. This attack is dodged by purposefully moving under Morwing and jumping over both projectiles, using Drifter's Cloak or pogoing them if needed. Morwing is a large jump in difficulty compared to most bosses, and defeating Morwing is a great accomplishment. With Morwing defeated, move left to enter the next area. The next area will automatically thrust you into your next major objective, freeing the town that is roped together by Silk. The first thing you should do is unlock the Bellway and head to the right into this small secret area. The secret is purely to discover and to keep it in mind for later use. You should head back to the Flea Master and complete the wish, traveling with the Flea Caravan in order to get another red tool, the Fleaver. Anyways, head to the left in order to enter Shellwood, the next area. There's some stuff to grab, enemies to sit on, and new areas to get to in here, so there's quite a lot. Go up to grab this rosary string and make your way to this hive, breaking it open in order to grab another tool, Long Pin. Leave this room by going up and left, diving down into another ambush arena. With Threadstorm, this arena is piss easy, so clear it and continue moving up to make yourself even more poor by grabbing a bench. The left room is where you're supposed to go. Down the elevator, unlocking the door, and going into here and getting another wish from a crackhead. Forget the wish from the crackhead for the time being. You'll complete it in one go later on. So go down and into this room, meeting up with the map mommy again to buy both maps from her, using a rosary string if needed. Continue left and left again. Go up into this room and deal with this enemy for the rosaries before continuing right and up. Going into this room and crossing it entirely for your 4th mass shard. Congratulations! Now you can take 3 hits instead of 3 hits. Wait, I said that wrong. It's 6 masks instead of 5. Oh well. Unfortunately, I did lose quite a bit of footage here, but I didn't lose anything important. With your first mask completed, go up into the left to buy the Bellway before going to the right, running by these totally random and totally not needed flower buds into this room here. Make your way up and unlock the elevator for quick access to the bench before continuing further, past the parkour, into this room, and into your next boss. Sister Splinter is a fairly simple but deceptively hard boss with only 2 attacks at first. There's more than enough time between attacks to get some damage in with Threadstorm or other means. The first attack is when Sister Splinter will angle herself above you with one of her arms raised. The arm that's raised is indicated with a visual cue and will slam down very shortly after. And she does this 3 times, alternating hands each time. Her next attack involves her summoning 1 to 3 vines from the ceiling. These vines are destroyed with 3 simple needle hits and are telegraphed on when they'll appear. A little ways into the fight, Sister Splinter will start to summon adds, which are easily dealt with via Threadstorm or 3 needle hits. When Sister Splinter is on low health, she'll disappear into the ceiling and summon 6 vines evenly spaced through the arena. Position yourself in the middle of them and Threadstorm to easily clear out 3 of them. The other 3 must be dealt with manually. Keep in mind that you should be attacking her between attacks as much as possible to get as much damage in as you can. Stay focused watching her telegraphs and you should pull through fairly quickly. Defeating Sister Splinter will give you access to the next major movement ability. You should stop down here to grab the Pala part from this flower before making your way through the room on the left, grabbing these rosaries, and moving to obtain the movement ability that changes your life, Cling Grip. The wall cling opens up a ton of stuff to do, so you're gonna be here for a while. The first thing you should do is go into this room and use your new movement ability to get up here. Break the hive and continue to grab another pile apart before grabbing these rosaries and moving forward. There's a secret area that's now open to you with a shard bundle in it. Break open these bell walls and go in, bringing this flea, grabbing these rosaries, robbing another grave, and moving to the left. There's another pile apart to grab here before moving into the left room. Grab this rosary string and go back to this large room. Up here there's another pile apart to nab before moving to the first room you entered Shellwood in. Going up to the rightmost corner of this room will give you another pile part. Remember that room with the totally not needed flower buds? Yeah, go to that room and use the flower buds to go up to the last and final pile part. With all the pile parts, go back to the crackhead, complete the wish, and talk to them again in order to get the polyp pouch. With the wish complete, go back to the bell tunnels you were just in and head down here to start your next boss. Widow is the game's first major skill check, so expect to die here quite a bit, and she has several attacks. Widow will target where you are in that moment, rushing to you until hitting the ground and moving across the ground in your direction. This attack is easily dodged by jumping and then pogoing Widow as she lands. Her next attack sees her moving across the ground, highlighting 4 parts of the arena before dropping large debris on the 4 areas shortly after. Stand between the second and third highlights, and whenever the debris in front of you drops, jump over it and either pogo or use Drifter's Cloak. Pogo Widow as she moves across the ground for some free damage. Her next attack sees Widow standing in the arena and calling down bells, a silk strand indicating the bells travel before it drops. Keep in mind that these bells will bounce and can still hit you when bouncing. Dash over to her and hit her once, paying attention to where the bell will come from. If the bell won't hit you, then go for another 2 or 3 hits. Later in the fight, Widow will scream, summoning 6 different bells with the same silk strands indicating where they'll hit. Rush over to Widow for at least 1 hit before dodging the bells if needed. This fight is difficult, but with practice you can pull through. Now with Widow defeated, you can enter phase 2. Come on, you thought it was over? Widow's just getting started. Damage opportunities and healing opportunities are much scarcer in phase 2, and Widow will no longer stagger. Her first attack calls in 2 diagonal moving bells with the same movement mechanics. Dash over to Widow to hit her once before backing off and weaving through the bells. Her second attack calls in 5 evenly spaced bells across the arena. Dash over to her and get 1 or 2 needle hits in before backing off. This attack is also your safest opportunity to heal as well. Her last attack will see her sweep the bottom of the arena in your direction. This attack gives you much less time to react, but a jump and a pogo will dodge and give you some free damage. Widow is another large skill jump, but you can beat her. All it takes is some patience. With Widow defeated, now you can finally go down into the town below, Bellheart. The absolute first thing you should do is go up and grab your first needle upgrade, increasing your needle's damage. Talk to Pliny again in order to get a wish so you don't forget the pale oil later. Next, go and sell off the relics you've collected thus far for a big influx of rosaries. Then, accept and complete all of the wishes on the wish board before using the rosaries you got to buy another memory locket. Remember that small secret area next to the bellway? We're going in there now. I have no real advice for this wish, simply explore the area in full, collecting rosaries as you go, and keep a sharp eye and ear out for the silver bells, as they do give off a small visual and sound cue. This takes a long time, so simply have patience and you'll complete it in time. For the next wish, head into Shellwood where you ran into the map mommy the first time. This is a tracking wish that requires you to follow a trail to your wish target. If you want to follow the trail in full, then that is perfectly fine with me. However, for the purpose of this guide, I will simply lead you right to it. Simply go to the left as much as possible until you see this room, then make your way as far left as possible and make your way down until you find the courier. The final wish is very simple. Make your way to halfway home to continue the wish, then go to Crawl Lake and farm. Generally, the larger crawl you kill, the more rag pelts it will drop. There is some rosaries that you should grab, and there is something you should collect. The room that had the map mommy in it, in Greymoor, does have an upper part that you should clear out, since there's rosaries to collect, a secret shortcut to break open, and a spool fragment to grab. Go into the secret shortcut you broke open and break the door open, but don't go any further since we'll get to this area later. Now you can properly go into Craw Lake to finish out the farming and return to the halfway home in order to turn in the wish. There's more areas to get to in Grimoire now that you have the wall jump, so go into this tower and all the way up into this room here. Cross the hallway, go up to grab this rosary string, and to break open this secret area to get another tool, the pin pillow. I personally prefer the nickname Hornet has a fucking grenade. Anyways, move out of that room and to the right now, crossing the hallway into this tower. Grab these rosaries and go to the right to activate the elevator before going back to the tower and continuing further up, all the way to the very top of the tower to grab a new item, the Silk Eater. Now if you have a tendency to die a lot, don't worry, we've all been there once, then the Silk Eater will become your best friend as it auto collects your cocoon no matter where it is. With this grabbed, go down a little and to the left, grabbing both sets of rosaries in this room before making your way up and into this area, going down in order to free this flea. Find a way back to the elevator that you activated and keep going through that room, opening this secret wall and saving this flea, which you will be beating up later. Now leave and go up, grabbing these few rosaries and taking the bellway all the way back to Bone Bottom. Accept all of the wishes on the board and go down into Moss Grotto. If you explored Moss Grotto for a bit, you'll remember this door. Well, with the needle end, we can now open these doors. Weave Nest also has some stuff to do. The first thing you need to do is reactivate the Weave Nest, grab the map, and then take the elevator down. Break open this wall for later use and go up into this room, crossing it into this vertical hallway for a rune harp and another secret wall. This secret area is a small parkour challenge, so complete it to grab another mash shard. Now go back out and into this lower area. Deal with the enemies in order to collect another spool fragment and get your second spool extension. Go out of this room and down into here in order to grab another bench. One that's free of charge even. You should hop into the water and move left into this secret area. This secret area is mostly small enemies. However, all the way at the end is a surprise rematch with the Moss Mother. All of the exact same strategies apply, but becomes much harder when the secondary Moss Mother enters the fray. At this point, there is no good way to get damage in outside of pogoing when a Moss Mother sweeps by. With two of them now, it becomes more important than ever to keep the arena clear of the adds that they spawn. Threadstorm and your tools will be extraordinarily helpful in this fight, both to deal good damage against the Moss Mothers and to keep the arena clear of adds. If you can, use Pogo and Jerter's Cloak in order to not only stay on top of the Moss Mothers, but also refill your silk and get some damage in. Extending Threadstorm by rapidly tapping the silk skill button is also a great way to keep yourself in the air and plan out what you're going to do next. This fight becomes a chaotic mess once both Moss Mothers are on screen, but this encounter shouldn't be too hard, and it also gives you another tool. Weave Light. Now leave the secret area and go into that wall that you broke open earlier and talk to Ava. I do highly recommend that you continue to return to Ava periodically, not only to upgrade Hunter's Crest, but for more things later down the road that are very helpful. With everything done here for now, leave the Weave Nest and go back up into Bone Bottom to the merchant to finally buy the simple key. With the key bought, go back to that stone door that required the key and open it for your next area, but don't go in just yet. We still have wishes to complete for Bone Bottom. The first wish involves killing 3 of these flint beetles for whatever reason. These are another tracking wish, so once again, for the purposes of this guide, I will show you the locations. The flint beetles are easily dealt with via 2 extended threadstorms. The secondary flint beetle is right here in this room. After dealing with it, go into this small room, up the wall into another ambush arena. This is one of, if not the easiest ambush arena in the game, and you're rewarded with a memory locket. The last flint beetle is right here in this room, so deal with it for the wish completed. Go back into this room here and cross the upper path that requires cling grip, which should lead you to another ambush arena. With Threadstorm and your tools, this arena should not cause you any issues. I do recommend using Threadstorm on the waves that spawn in the beast flies so you don't have to deal with them. Beating this arena will award you with another mash shard. With this grab, you should have all of the mash shards that are collectible in Act 1 for a grand total of 6. Now head to the left and go into this room, making your way up and breaking open this secret wall to rob another grave. Break open this secret wall to rob yet another grave, and break open another secret wall to go up into this room. Head to the left to open the shortcut before heading up and engaging another boss. The Skull Tyrant is a very simple and somewhat easy boss with only 3 attacks. Keep in mind that Skull Tyrant will only take damage from the left or right. Pogos deal no damage at all. The first attack is the charge, which is easily dodgeable by jumping and pogoing for extra height. The second attack will have Skull Tyrant jumping at you, which is easily dodgeable by dashing under it and getting a free needle hit in once it lands. Skull Tyrant's final attack is when it'll roar and jump up and down, causing a plethora of rocks to fall from the ceiling. This attack is essentially free damage if a rock doesn't fall on top of you. Skull Tyrant is very easy, so you shouldn't struggle much at all. Take the crown fragment and go back to Bone Bottom in order to turn in both of the wishes in one go. Go back to Bellheart and burn all of your rosary strings. You should have enough money to buy the spool fragment, the last one I will recommend you collect, and the multi-binder. The multi-binder will make your binding last longer, but increase your mass gain from 3 to 4, so I highly recommend using this tool as well. With multi-binder and most wishes cleared, go back to that stone door and enter your next area, wormways. From the entrance, go far left, then up into this room. Mark down the weave nest here and continue to navigate. The enemies here are quite annoying and the layout of this place is very confusing, so go across the platforms and up here in order to get to another bench and to accept the wish from the alchemist. Before doing this wish, go all the way up here and break open the secret wall. Go all the way down this vertical hallway to unlock the shortcut and break open this secret area to free this flea. Now go up and enter this room to make your way up to the muscle mommy. Realize that you're poor and can't buy her map, then go all the way through this upper part to here and grab the tool. Go back to the vertical hallway and all of the way up, quite literally, to here and pick up this rosary string. Now go to the lower part again and complete the wish, which involves scoping out every room in the lower wormways. Now go back to the room you entered and go down. There's another plasmium button here, but also go all the way down into here and break open this wall before making your way back up into the left in order to get into this room. There's a secret wall you should break here, another secret wall here for much later use, and the final plasmium bud. From the last bud, go up, right, down more, then follow this tunnel all the way to this memory locket. Now go back to the alchemist to complete the wish. Before leaving the wormways, break the rosary string if needed to buy the map from the muscle mommy, then head all the way down to that wall that you broke open. Do not be like me and forget it until later. There's rosaries to collect, a shortcut to open, another grave to rob, and another chapel to enter. This chapel has a lot of string traps and rosaries to collect before going all the way down into this ambush arena. Threadstorm rips this arena apart, so clear it and get another crest, the Wanderer's Crest. Wanderer's Crest has a much faster swing speed in exchange for range. When above 9 silk strands, there's a 2% chance for a critical hit to occur, dealing 3 times your needle damage. Be sure to grab this mossberry before leaving. Keep in mind that after the first Skull Tyrant encounter, every time you use the bench, there's a chance for a rematch with it, which I unfortunately got here. However, this rematch is quite literally the exact same as the first fight, so you shouldn't struggle here. With the Wanderer's Crest, go to Shellwood and from the Bellway, go right, down, left, up, and to the right for another bench and easier access to the Bellways. Now go all of the way hard to the left, crossing the broken bridge and going up and up more into your next area. Buy the bench and enter the blasted steps. The enemies here are very complex and tanky, so Threadstorm or tools will be your best friend here. Right here you should go down not only to hit the shortcut lever, but also go down here in order to grab this memory locket. Now go to the right and to the right more to the muscle mommy for this area's map. Make your way through this room until right about here. There's some rosaries to grab and another secret area to raid for another silk eater. Now go left and hit this lever and continue making your way further up to get to another bench and the Bellway. With these grabbed, go up and break open this secret wall, making your way through this room to break this shard statue for another B shard. Go even further up in order to free another flea before going all of the way down into this room. This pilgrim here holds another tool that you should grab. This is supposed to be a game of luck, but if you hold the rolling enough, then Hornet will let out a grunt and the dice will flash white briefly, which guarantees you winning the bet. The timing on this is a little weird, but once you get it down, it's easy to win all of the bets and get the magnetite dice in the process. This is another tool I highly recommend, as the dice have a small chance to straight up block damage. The chance grows the more you take damage, and it's incredibly strong. Now, with all of this done, go to the room on the right and navigate all the way until you see this tunnel. Follow this tunnel out until you get to the end, which has another craft metal waiting for you. Now get out of this tunnel and keep moving forward until you reach this room. If you've been following along, all 5 of these bells should be in place. With this being said, do not talk to this pilgrim just yet. There's still stuff we gotta do. Go to Greymore via the Bellway and go to halfway home. Remember that elevator you activated? Take it all the way up and into this room to the right, entering your next area. Sinner's Road. These enemies are quite smart and very tanky, so try to avoid these if you can. Grab the rosary string here and get to the right as fast as possible. From there, go to the right and make your way through the room. 2 fully extended Threadstorms are able to deal with most enemies in this area. Grab these few rosaries and head down. This room has another tool to grab, so grab it and go back to that vertical hallway and make your way up into the right, opening the gate and back into the vertical hallway. From here, get to this lever and hit it before grabbing these rosaries and going into here for the muscle mommy again. Grab the bench and get trolled for a secondary time. This time, go up and break open this secret wall for another parkour challenge. Yes, a parkour challenge for a simple bench. With the challenge complete and the bench actually gotten now, there's some rosaries to grab, and with a little brain power, observe. Now continue up into this room. Up here, there's a chest with some rosaries on the left side. Before you keep moving to the chest, break open this secret wall for later use and get past the parkour in order to open the chest. Go to the right now, making your way through the room and to the right more. In this room, there's a secret wall. Whatever you do, do not go into this area. The secret wall you opened leads you to an area that I'm not going to cover at all just yet. So go down and grab these rosaries before going into here. Freeing this flea before going back and down further right into this room. Remember that secret at the top of Greymoor you broke open? This connects to that secret. So clear out the 2 enemies here, not only to get another bench, but also to get Styx, who infinitely makes Silk Eaters for you to use over time. With access to Styx obtained, go back to the previous room and go all the way up. There's a small arena fight here with only 1 large enemy, which is easily killed by 2 extended thread storms, as usual. This enemy will also drop a simple key, which you should go back to that imprisoned green bug and free him with it.
Flint and steel. I'm mature, I promise.
At this point, you're in the end game of Act 1. So by this point, now you just have to run around and collect all the stuff you haven't collected just yet. So find your way to Farfields. This is when the Bellway will become your best friend. Remember where you got the warding bell, that whole secret for later? Yeah, that's where you're going. There's only 1 enemy in here you should worry about, and you can exploit their AI rather easily. So grab this craft metal in the chest and go into that area at the start of Farfields you couldn't reach earlier. In here, there's a grave to rob, a small parkour challenge to complete for a nice reward of rosaries at the end, and a shortcut to a bench to unlock. Now go back to the Bellway and run into this secret area here. There's a small parkour challenge here as well, with some rosaries to grab and a flea right at the end. Keep in mind that there is a very annoying and very tanky enemy here. The best way to deal with this enemy is simply hit the lever and let it run out of the room. Now you should be at Pilgrim's Rest, so buy out the merchant here entirely, as you should have a stockpile of rosaries now. The weighted belt has a hidden effect of increasing the iframes you have when taking damage. The last thing you have to do in Farfields is to go to the weave nest that was in that loop where you got Drifter's Cloak, sprinting across the platforms for the Silk Speed anklets. Now take the Bellway to Deep Docks to buy out the Forge Daughter as well. If you need an influx of rosaries, go into Hunter's March, as there's a room we haven't cleared yet. On the way over, go up to this room. Whatever you do, do not let the enemy capture you. Always be sprinting under them and take small hits from afar. If you get hit by the sticky blobs they shoot out, mash jump and movement as much as possible to break free. If you get captured, there's a long and difficult escape sequence. It's best to avoid this room. I simply came in here because I wanted the rosaries. Now go all the way up in the vertical hallway in Hunter's March and go up into this room. You see this enemy? Yeah, we're gonna engage them again. The moment you engage, another flying enemy will join the attack. Whenever the large enemy jumps, dash and sprint under it, then quickly turn around and take a hit at it. This fight is very challenging, so don't get tilted at all. You can always freely leave the room should you want or need to. Defeating these enemies awards you with a massive 360 rosaries, a huge amount for this point in the game. Your next goal should be returning to Ava in Weaveness Alta. If you've been following along, as well as using the memory lockets on different crests as you went, there should be another upgrade available to you now. The Vesta crest is infinitely helpful, as it allows another yellow tool that doesn't change with crest selection. Head back to the Blasted Steps and explore that large room below the Bellway until you see this sign. Go into that room and charge headfirst into another boss fight. The Great Conch Flies are an incredibly easy boss fight, as they telegraph where they're coming from so you can easily move out of the way and get a needle hit in. On occasion, one will appear from the top of the screen and shoot a bouncing projectile, so be sure to dodge it or hit it into the Great Conch Fly for some extra damage. Pay sharp attention to their telegraphs and you should be able to beat this boss on the first or second try. Traverse the room on the left and go into the building, talking to the Pinstress and getting the needle strike. If you've been meticulous about following every step thus far, your map should look something like this. Now go to the Flea Caravan, as it's time to beat up a flea. Talk to Krat and then enter the spa, enjoying your time and waiting for a while. Once Krat appears and peeps on you, jump and smack him in the face with your needle, then exit and talk to him again. Doing this will make the spa free to use whenever you wish and is an incredibly funny interaction. Now make your way back to Sinner's Road, as it's time to finally face the final 2 bosses. So enter the long hallway and go into this secret here. Welcome to the Mist. If you don't want the mechanics of the Mist to be spoiled for you, then feel free to skip to this timestamp on screen. I'll give you 5 seconds. The mist is a large puzzle area with a lot of parkour, a lot of traps, and annoying enemies. The way to progress through the mist is to look for these silk flies and use the needle in. After a bit, the silk flies will react and move directly to the exit of the room that you should take. Keep in mind that if you fall out of the mist, you are sent back to the very start. Also worth noting is that the enemies will grow more and more numerous the further you progress. You'll know that you've gotten through the mist when you see this hallway. Now that you're through the mist, go into the exhaust organ. There's a nearby bench in here, so find it and look for this specific area and head to the left for a secret area. Progress through the secret area and across the platforms to save another flea before going back in and continuing upwards to engage the second to last boss you'll fight in Act 1. On top of the absolute banger of a theme, Phantom is an excellent fight with several attacks. Phantom's first jump will have her thrusting her pin 3 times in your direction. This is best dodged by jumping and pogoing for a chance of damage, then dashing the opposite way Phantom is moving the moment the pogo gives you some height. Phantom's second attack has her throwing her pin in your direction, indicated with the sound cue. So sit in a corner of the arena and jump the moment the pin is thrown and pogo her as she rushes over to the pin. About 50% of the time, Phantom will jump to the center of the arena before doing this attack, so keep that in mind. Phantom's third attack is the obligatory parry. If you're unfortunate enough to hit her parry, immediately jump and use Drifter's Cloak to avoid her attack. A little ways into the fight, Phantom will jump off screen and a small visual cue will shine on the ground around you. If this happens, sprint to the part of the arena that has the most room as fast as possible. The moment Phantom slams down, dash back to her and attack. If your spacing is correct, you'll barely get a hit in. Once Phantom screams and mist fills the arena, then you've entered Phase 2. The moment Phase 2 starts, Phantom will attack you with 6 back-to-back slam attacks, and can now chain them together whenever she wants. On top of this, Phantom can now semi-randomly teleport before doing any attack at all, so keep this in mind as well. This fight will really push your limits, but with perseverance, you can push past Phantom and activate the elevator up. Follow out the trail in full, breaking these debris walls for another memory locket, getting the map, buying the Vendrica, and buying the Bellway. Take the Bellway back to the Blasted Steps and put on the Magma Bell that you bought from the Forge Daughter, and head all the way up to that pilgrim I told you to avoid at the Bell Door, as it's time to fight the final boss of Act 1 and arguably the hardest boss you've been faced with thus far. The Last Judge, on top of having another banger of a theme, is the hardest boss you've faced thus far with several attacks. Her first attack involves her throwing her bell at you before pulling it back, indicated with a sound cue. Upon hearing the sound cue, dash towards or away from your specific location. If you dash towards the Last Judge, you can get 1 needle hit in before you have to jump in order to avoid the attack. Dashing away will ensure you can avoid the pullback, but you can't get damage in. Her next attack will involve jumping high into the air before slamming back down. This can easily be avoided by dashing under her. You can even get 1 or 2 needle hits in. Keep an eye on the large bell that the Last Judge carries, as if it spins in a circle, quickly dash away from her as she'll expand the spin very shortly after. Once you see the large bell ignite, you'll know you've entered Phase 2. All of the Last Judge's attacks get upgraded in some way. The throw attack will cause the bell to explode shortly after hitting the ground before it pulls back. The slam attack will now release a fire shockwave shortly after landing, indicated by the smoke on the ground. The spin attack will now cause flaming trails to occur during spinning, which are indicated by the smoke, and on top of all of these upgrades, the Last Judge will also gain a new attack. If you see the Last Judge crouch down, then jump as fast as possible, as she'll rush by and 3 evenly spaced flame pillars will erupt from the ground, each indicated by smoke. Pogo the Last Judge as she rushes by for some free damage. Once you see more shockwaves coming from the Last Judge, then you'll know you're almost done. The spin attack she does will have several waves of fire to dodge. After this, she'll continue to attack like normal. Once the Last Judge is defeated, run as far away as you can from her in order to dodge 1 final attack that can kill you in 2 hits. The Last Judge is a really hard boss, so expect to spend quite some time here. But with the Magma Bell and focus, you can finally beat her and move into Act 2. And that is where I'll leave you. If you want to see a guide to Act 2, stick around, as I'll be making that in due time. Until then, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all of that YouTuber nonsense, and I'll see you in the next video.